The Grand Life Planner has 36 different hubs, like the Grand Habits Hub, the Gym Hub, Finance Hub, Reading Hub, all interconnected into one central planner. In this video, I'll show you how to use all of the hubs by discussing the same 3-step process that all hubs use. There are 36 worlds, in other words 36 hubs, which function like different apps, but instead of being split apart and needing to spend monthly subscriptions for each of them, you get access to everything forever, and everything is in one operating system. And believe it or not, all hubs work the same way. No, this doesn't mean that they all do the same thing. For example, the Reading Hub lets you build a library of books and track your reading and new chapter releases. The Finance Hub lets you track your expenses and income no matter what repeat pattern they may have. The Gym Hub lets you build routines using exercises that have target muscles involved, which you can all add simultaneously in one button and make as many sets as you want. Fast and easy. Each hub does different things, but what I mean is that they are intentionally designed to share the same 3-step process. This way you actually get things done, this way they all feel the same, and if you learn one, you learn all the rest. I will be making individual hub videos another time, but for now, this is the video for all. And in this video, I'll show you how the hubs work with the Grand Habits Hub as the example. First, we'll discuss what the 3-step process is, then we'll see it in action and test different interactions. What if we did our habit correctly? What if we failed our habits? We'll see how Notion reacts. So let's start. What is the 3-step process? In general, this is the flow. Add the settings, make the entry, and see the feedback. With habits as an example, we add the habit settings, make the habit tracker entry, and see the feedback and the notifications. Now let's discuss these three one by one. First is the settings where you set the rules of the habit. There are several settings, some of which are unique to the hub, but the most important settings to look at is the rules settings and the repeat settings if you'll use the repeats. Let's use the rules settings of the habit as the example. In the rules settings, what you do is you edit the properties to build the rules property, which is a sentence that Notion reads to check if you did good or not. The rules is found in the rules settings, which you can find in the Your Habits sections of the Your Habits page. Each hub, of course, has its own version of the Your Habits page where you can find the settings, like here in the Cooking Hub. This is always the first page of the Worlds menu that isn't a support page, like Setup or Quick New. Step 2. Make a new entry, where you add a new habit tracker entry, in other words, a new record of your actions. You do this in the hub's main page by clicking on the New Entry button. The entry normally just uses one page, where all the data, like done or amount, is taken from the properties. As you can see here, when we do open the habit tracker page, it's mostly empty. This is how it is for most hubs, except for the Gym Hub and the Travel Hub, where you get data from databases that are found inside the new entry pages. Step 3 is feedback, where you see the results of your progress. Remember how we built the rules using the different properties? But these aren't just there for design. Notion will actually read your own rules to tell you if you follow them or not. This is made purely with Notion formulas, by the way, so no third-party app is involved. The feedback you get comes in different forms: empty, due today, overdue, continue, win, fail, and partial. So we just discussed how to use the worlds, and now this is the most important part. Let's run a demo. What we'll do here is make an example habit settings with example habit tracker entries. Then we will see what feedback will Notion give us if we followed our rules, broke some of them, or other interactions. Step 1 settings. Let's make our new habit read. And let's make our habit rules based on the properties here in the rule settings. Is reading a good or bad habit? It's good. Let's set the mode to numerical so we can test our number values. We don't want to spend too much time reading since we have other more productive things to do, so let's set the limit as limited, and set both the target and limit as 5 and 10 respectively. Unit will be page, action will be read, and we'll set a time limit that will make it due on 10 p.m. in our text property that's formula powered to convert text input into time. We'll set repeat to weekly because we want to have a weekly reading goal. As we can see in the hover info of weekly, you're scored per calendar week and the habit will be due on whenever the first repeat date is. Different repeat options have different scoring ranges and recurring due dates, but that's for another video. We set our first repeat date today, November 28th, which is a Friday. Using the property data that we put in, we make the rules that Notion reads. In our example, making this habit correct means that we should read 5 to 10 pages due on 10 p.m. Notion will be checking our progress weekly, and this habit will be due every Friday. While Notion checks the rules property that we built to know whether our current scoring range, which is in this example a week, is successful or not, Notion uses the reminder property to check what exact dates fall under our current scoring range. The The reminder property can be found in the repeat settings beside the rules. It has two parts, one that tells you the current scoring range, a week in this case, and another that tells you when is the due date. If the nearest due is today, then the next due will also appear. Right now, our scoring range is November 23 to November 29 because today is November 28. The current week starts on Sunday, November 23 to Saturday, November 29. It's due today because the habit is due on Fridays. And since today is a Friday, then it's due today. Why does the next say December 5? This is because the next Friday after November 28, which is this week's Friday, is December 5, which is next week's Friday. As shown here, the habit will be due every Friday, something we can also see in our rules. And just in case you were wondering, no, you don't need to move the first repeat date every time. That just stays as November 28 forever, and Notion will just make calculations based on the current day today. A habit being due today means that the habit will have the due today symbol and appear in the notifications, the new entry, the World's Today notifications in the World's page, and the World will appear in the home page's World's dashboard. The World's dashboard is here to make hub management super easy since it allows you to make new entries on multiple hubs all in one place. If a hub has content due today, it will appear here, like our example habit. You have two options when it does appear here. Click on the Open Hub button to open the entire page of the hub, or click on the Hub dashboard page itself to open the page where you can quickly add new entries, see the notifications, and optionally use the planner inside all in one place. This is useful so you don't have to open each hub page every time you need to add new entries, since everything with content due today will appear here. Every new week that passes changes the scoring range based on the Sunday to Saturday range of the current week. If you're wondering if you can change the week start from Sunday to Monday, then no worries. You can visit the control panel for that, where other settings like the currency control is also located. If you do so, the formulas change and your new scoring range will adapt. But for this example, let's just stick to the original Sunday start. Now that we know how both our rules and reminder properties work, and now that I've plugged in all these properties we just talked about into Notion, let's dive into making habit tracker entries and see what feedback we will get. Right now, we're in the Grand Habits Hub homepage. Here into the Today section, let's press the New Entry button, and our habit tracker has a new entry made that automatically has properties filled. The automatically added amount number is what we previously set the target to be, which is 5 in this case. The current time is also added for the done time. Meanwhile, done isn't edited because numerical habits don't use the done checkbox. If we did use a yes or no type of habit, then it would be set as true. And as you can see here, what happens is Notion gives you all the feedback you need to make sure your habits stick. One by one, the button for read disappears, and the feedback is shown in the notifications, the more view, and the bookmarks. Let's have a closer look at what they're saying. Hit pause here if you want to read them. But since all of them share the same feedback, we'll focus on the notifications. You're done. You perfectly hit your target. Don't go beyond 10 pages when you do add more entries later. And you were early. What does this mean if you have a successful entry? The Grand Habits Hub also has other features that get updated when you get a win. Here they are one by one. In the Your Habits page, the heat map will show the win, and the streak too gets updated. In the Advanced page, the Advanced goals, which are goals that look at your habit tracker to determine if the goal is a win or not, see today as a win. The habit achievements in all its different forms will consider it a win. The Analytics full heat map will also show the win. The habit goals meanwhile show your habit effort, so it shows your progress regardless of the result. Now let's go back to the homepage. But what if we're still reading? Maybe we're still one page in. If so, the feedback you get is continue with a blue color. The notifications here say, hey, here's what you did. 1 page out of 5. And you were early. The button and bookmark get updated too as usual. I just won't show these every time since the notifications summarize them already. And yes, if you notice, the progress bar is now blue, but previously it was yellow. The color changes based on the result of the habit. Blue if continue, yellow if it's a win, red if fail, and white when 0. Now let's go back to continue. Remember how our repeat is weekly with a scoring range of every week? As you can see here near the button is our date range from the reminders, November 23 to November 29. As mentioned before, all entries made within the current week will contribute to the result. And here we'll see it in action. We will be adding example entries on Sunday and Thursday, in addition to today's Friday, so we can see how it works. Let's make an entry on Sunday, and let's also just update the done time to match Sunday's date since that's what makes sense the most. Making this entry adds up with our week's results, so our score is now 6. This is because the 5 pages from Sunday plus the 1 page from today, Friday, is equals to 6 pages, which is well within the 5 to 10 range. As a result, the notifications say that it's done. Let's also add another entry on Thursday in the same week. We add a new entry here, set the date, and then we edit the done time to match the example date. What happens is our notifications tell us that we overdid it. It's too high. Yes, you did hit the target of 5, even going above it, but you went 11 pages and crossed the limit we previously set as 10. Because remember, our habit rules did say that we are limited and the limit is the maximum of 10 pages per week. Since we overdid our reading beyond the limit of 10 pages because 5 plus 5 plus 1 equals 11, the feedback will tell us that we overdid it too. But what if we were late? Even if we were in the perfect 5 to 10 pages range, let's change Thursday's amount 5 into 3 to make the total 5 plus 3 plus 1 is equals to 9, and 9 is in the perfect range between 5 to 10. As you can see, the feedback agrees. Let's have a closer look. We get the success message. However, we said that we would make our habit timed and the due time is 10 p.m. So what happens if we were late in an entry? Let's edit Thursday's done time to be late at 11 p.m. and then the feedback will tell us that we were late. This is what happens if we were late in any of our entries. Compared to the previous fail message where we were told we were too high, now we still get the X. But the reason we were wrong is now because we were late. And if you're ever wondering what happens if we were too high and too late, then you're told you're both too high over the limit and too late in your entries. If we were late, but of course you still worked hard in it and still want to consider the day a win despite failing once, then you can mark the done in any entry in the current week as true to make the partial result. The partial result for an entry will also still make the day appear in the streak and heat map and everywhere else. Did you follow the rules or not? Since the Grand Habits Hub has multiple properties that are used to check if a habit tracker is a win or not, it might be confusing to remember why does Notion think this day was lost? Why did our heat map mark an X? Why did our streak break? Or where did we go wrong? If we want the most straightforward explanation to what happened to our habit tracker so zero confusion is made despite having many rules, we can just read the rules and explanation properties. The rules property of the habit tracker is a more straightforward way of telling us what to do. All our entries have the same rules because they share the same habit, read. Amount must be 5 pages but not exceed 10 pages, and done time must be on or before 10 p.m. These are our rules. And beside it is the explanation. The explanation tells us which rules did we break that resulted in the day not being considered a win. For example, November 28th day had an error, so as a result, it's not in the heat map. The next one we made, Sunday, was perfect, so it appears in the heat map. November 27th, Thursday, meanwhile did have an error in the done time being late and the amount not meeting the target, so it's supposed to be a failure, right? But remember, we set the done as true despite there being an error, so we still see it in the heat map, since the result is partial. This 3-step process is the same that all the hubs use. Some of the hubs which don't use a tracker and mainly serve as containers also use the same process, but a more abridged version of it with only the settings and the results in the notifications, since there's no point using a tracker in them like the passwords hub. So in this video, we learned how to use all of the hubs in the Grand Life Planner with the Grand Habits Hub as an example. We learned the 3-step process and saw it in action. More videos to come soon. Thank you!